Hey there guys, and how are you all doing today? My name's Rob, aka Chrome Magic, and I hope you love the t-shirt. It says, "I have the body of a god, shame it's Buddha." Yeah, I really like this t-shirt because obviously I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I'm definitely not the smallest guy in the world, but yeah, I just really love the shirt. But today's topic of conversation and the topic for the video is the Scuf gaming controller. Now, I did one of these last time, a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, when I first got the controller. It was an unboxing video, and I just went through all of the stuff that comes inside the controller. But the one problem with it was the lighting was really poor, so I've decided to sit underneath my bedroom light, and I've also got a lamp right next to me that will hopefully give a little bit more light to my face as well. Hopefully it's not overexposed, but you know, hopefully it'll get sorted in the next few days, and I'll come on to that in a little bit. So this is the Scuf gaming controller. It cost me £85, and it's the basic controller without any design on it, and I'm going to give a full account of what I think of the controller, and I'm going to give it from my own perspective. I'm not going to sort of like give you wishy-washy information that could be untrue or whatever. I don't get paid to do this review, so I'm going to do 100% full and honest review. I'll start with the bad. The bad thing about it is, if you want to get a controller with a design on it, they do go up in price depending on the design, and the better designs are a fair bit more expensive. And to be honest, I don't like that fact, because to put a bit of paintwork on it, it surely isn't going to cost like £30 to customise the paint on the controller. But each to their own, I suppose. If you're willing to pay that money, then obviously Scuf Gaming are going to love that fact. And they do look really good though. I do admit they do look really good, and maybe one day I might invest the money and get myself one with a camo pattern on it, just because they look really cool. But as I say, they are quite expensive. With the basic one, it costs you £54, or I believe it's £54, it's around that, and then you pay for the extras on top. So the first thing I had was the domed thumbstick. I don't know if you can see that, the comparison between the two. The domed thumbstick is actually really good. Originally I thought it was a mistake of mine, because I used an FPS Freak, and for those of you guys that don't know what an FPS Freak is, it basically lengthens the stick. I think I've got one, yeah. This is an FPS Freak, and it lengthens the stick. You put it on the top of it and it makes it longer, as sort of thing. I'm not going to put it on because I don't want it to scuff up the side of the Scuf controller. But yeah, I originally didn't like this because it looked as though it was the same height. It's only slightly bigger. It is slightly bigger, but I would at the time I would have preferred to have had my FPS Freak on. But after using this for a while, I actually find that the domed thumbstick is a lot better than the concave one. I think it's the concave one. Concave or convex? I don't know. But the inner domed, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like compressed in. Depressed, that's the word. So the actual accuracy of this is really good. It's really good for making those short, tiny movements which the depressed thumbstick, I'm going to keep saying compressed, I meant to say depressed thumbstick gives you. The depressed thumbstick doesn't really give you that much in terms of tiny movements, whereas this does, and it is fantastic. All Scuf controllers have a seal of approval that there is no dead zone when you move the stick. So every time you move the stick, you make a movement on the controller. the one thing that I've found a hell of a lot with previous controllers and the original standard controllers is you'll move the controller sort of like that. I don't know if you can see that I am actually moving it, but it won't actually make a difference, and it means that gauging the small movements is really hard to do. Whereas with this controller, they promise that they will not do that. That it will not happen, and if you do find any dead loss or dead zone space, then you can take it back and they will give, I guess they'll fix it or give a refund or whatever. But yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is the trigger stops. If you can see those there, they're the silver little things on the edge of the triggers, and what they do is when you press down, you can't actually press the trigger all the way down. Now this is a sort of a problem for for racing games and for games like a football game. If you need to press the trigger all the way down, then you can't actually do that. But they are FPS controllers primarily, and they do a really good job. It means that you can press the trigger really quickly compared to what you can on a normal controller, and it means that the gap between pressing it and being able to let it come back up, it means that you can press the trigger a couple of times more. But in Modern Warfare 3, for things like the Striker and the MK14, they do have a maximum trigger speed, so it doesn't really help with the with the Striker, but it does help when you've got the MK14 rapid fire, and that's it's a pretty beast gun with that on. But again, it's not unbeatable, and this controller isn't going to make you into the best gamer in the world. And for people that say it's a modded controller, I'll get to that point in a second. So the next thing is there's hairline triggers. I don't know if you can see the little black sort of thing. Well, you use an Allen key just to tighten them up, and every time you tighten it up, it moves the controller slightly further down the trigger, and it means that as soon as you press the trigger, for me now, the way it's set up for Modern Warfare 3, every time I press that trigger, even though in the slightest, it will send out a shot, or for this side, it will zoom in. And that's really good because it means that you haven't got to faff about with the distance that you have to travel down to start shooting, because there's always a bit of again, it's sort of like a dead zone with the controllers in the normal Xbox. The final thing that they do is the touch pads at the back. They feel like you're clicking a mouse, and they kind of sound like it. I don't know if you can hear that, but they sound like it's clicking a mouse. And this one on my right, which will be on your left as you're looking at me, this one is my knife button, which is the B button as I play on tactical layout because I'm a drop shotter. And the left one is my Y button, which is the change weapon. They come as standard, as the left is the B button and the right for me is the B button, and the left for me is the A button, which is jump. I would say keep it as jump. I changed to change weapon, and I don't use it as much as I thought I would, but it's still good there just in case you need to double Y if you're reloading, and you can double Y to stop the reload and still get your shots off and hopefully kill someone that would otherwise have killed you. Now, everyone says they're a modded controller and everyone disagrees with them, but the question I pose to the people who believe that is, what about surround sound and stereo sound headsets? Surely they're just as big of a mod or game enhancer as a controller, because yes, okay, a controller helps you slightly in terms of rate of fire and stuff like that and ease of buttons, but at the end of the day you've still got to press the buttons. With a surround sound headset, it's actually helping you in a different way, whereas you're not the one that can, as in they can tell you where and where the other person is. So say if you sound whoring, you can hear where someone else is. That for me is a bigger mod than a controller. but I've still got one. I don't disagree with them at all. I've got a Triton AX Pro, and I don't disagree with the Scuf gaming headsets. Just take a think and see what your sort of idea of it is, and see if you agree with me. If you don't, then fair play, but at the end of the day, I don't agree that a Scuf gaming controller is a game enhancing element or should be frowned upon, because at the end of the day, most people have got headsets now that are in the YouTube commentating industry, and or MLG players and game battles players. Most of them have all got headsets, so at the end of the day, these are all also MLG WGL, I think it is, which is the World Gaming League or something like that, and they're approved in all sorts of competitions, every competition they're approved in. If it was a modded controller and it was deemed unsafe, or not unsafe, sorry, if it was deemed unfair, they wouldn't be there. It's as simple as that. So, you know, take of it what you will. And also, I'm hoping to get my room redecorated on Saturday, so in 2 days' time. It's going to be a mix of a baby blue, sky blue sort of colour with the paint, and the ceiling is going to be white. It's now black and dark blue on the walls. So hopefully that'll bring a lot more light in, get the quality of my videos a little bit better, and hopefully it'll also mean that I have a lot more light to work with, if you know what I mean. It just feels really dark and glum at the minute, and it's sort of like I'm still stuck in the goth stage, even though I'm not a goth anymore, if that makes sense. But yeah, so hopefully I'll do like a walkthrough sort of time-lapsed video of everything that's been going on, taking posters down, repainting, moving my furniture, bed and stuff like that around, and then redoing the paint and re-putting posters back up. I'm not going to put my music posters up. I'm just going to keep all of my COV stuff and stuff like that, and hopefully keep it near enough as bare as I can without getting rid of the important posters that are to me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then I would appreciate it if you'd leave a like, a comment, and if you're new to the channel and haven't already subscribed to me, then if you feel that you want to view more of my videos, then please go ahead and do so. Cheers guys, and take care.